Hello and welcome to Bangladesh Today. We have in our studio Mr. Sandeep Waslekar, President of the Strategic Foresight Group. He has worked on various aspects of conflict resolution in South Asia. He's also recently hosted a roundtable on India-Bangladesh water sharing called the Blue Peace in the Eastern Himalayas. We speak to him about the emotive issue of water sharing between Bangladesh and India. Thank you for speaking with us, Mr. Waslekar. I'd like to begin by asking that, this water sharing issue between India and Bangladesh, it's a highly emotive one in both countries, at least in eastern India and Bangladesh as a whole. Now, can you broadly explain what is the problem that we have, that the two countries have, and how can it be resolved? First, let's talk about what the issue is.
Well, India-Bangladesh water relations are actually on a much more positive track than what the rhetoric indicates. There is an in-principle agreement between India and Bangladesh on how to manage the Tista River basin. There is an agreement in place on the Ganges River. The agreement on Tista has not been signed when the Prime Minister went to Bangladesh in 2011, and it was expected to be signed. Because of various domestic political issues in India, and also there are domestic political issues in Bangladesh. But the broad contours of the agreement are ready. Now the issue is that the Bangladeshis have a certain perception of how much share of the Tista river flow they should have, and the central government in India has a certain perception, and the state government of West Bengal has a certain perception. And so there is a disagreement on the numbers, but there are not any big fundamental disagreements. The total water flow from India to Bangladesh is about 54 rivers. So there are 54 transboundary rivers between India and Bangladesh. Bangladesh also has a few transboundary rivers with the other countries.
And is it are all of the is there a dispute on all of them, or is it just on some of them that?
No. There is currently only a disagreement on Tista. Farakka agreement is signed and sealed. Once in a while you find some criticism of Farakka agreement, but there is no, I wouldn't call it a dispute at all.
Which is remarkable, isn't it? With that 54 rivers, very few countries would share so much of river water.
Exactly.
And and
the total amount of river, the water that flows into Bangladesh from India is 1200 billion cubic meters. Now, what is 1200 billion cubic meter? Sometimes these numbers don't make much sense. But the total amount of water that goes from, say, Turkey to Syria and Iraq from the Euphrates River is about 33 billion cubic meters. So, just to give an idea.
Also,
so
but then there are populations dependent on those waters in India and Bangladesh would be more than in Syria and Iraq. So
exactly.
we're talking
but
about
just to give an idea, when you talk about this mighty Nile River, which is 85 billion cubic meters, or Euphrates River, which is 33 billion cubic meters. So, just to get a perspective, so the numbers here are 1200 billion cubic meters, which is quite huge. Now, out of this 1200 billion cubic meters, almost 80 to 85% is Ganga and Brahmaputra. So, the remaining 52 rivers.
So, Ganga and Brahmaputra, you're talking also then of not just India, Bangladesh, you're talking about other countries.
No, I'm confined to India, Bangladesh.
Okay.
So, 1200 billion cubic meters which goes from India to Bangladesh, 85% is through Ganga and Brahmaputra and their tributaries. So, there is only 15% water that is from that goes to the remaining 52 rivers. Now, Tista is one of them, and it is one of the larger ones of the remaining 52. But still, those 52 account for only 15% of the total water. The statistics of the water flow are not officially available, but our mathematical modeling shows that the total amount of water that flows through Tista on an average is about 60 billion cubic meters. But the biggest problem is the seasonal variations. So, what happens in the monsoon season, say from roughly June to September or October, you have almost 90% of the water flowing.
So, which is the problem with lower riparian states?
And even for upper riparian, for everybody.
Okay.
See, the whole
what
problem
we've seen
is
in Uttarakhand and
yes, exactly. So, even for that is the concern of the West Bengal government also, that if they allow more water to flow to Bangladesh, then they are concerned as to what will happen in the lean season, which is mostly the period from November to February.
Which is also the problem as far as their power consumption and all that is dependent
exactly,
on
power
that.
production and everything. So, but the issue is that there are some basic norms of the management of rivers which are internationally established. And the central government is very much respecting those norms. Now, the key of these basic norms is that there is the concept of environmental flow. So, environmental flow is the flow of the river which must be there for the river to survive. If you take away the water from the river, or if you divert it, and if you do not allow any river in the world, not just Tista, to have its environmental flow, that river would eventually die.
But that is not the problem right now between the two states.
That is the problem.
Between the two countries.
That is the problem.
Environmental issue is the problem?
No, environmental flow, not environmental issues. Environmental flow is a technical term.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
No, that means the minimum amount of flow of a river that must go all the way to the sea or all the way to the next.
Isn't it going anyway right now? I mean, that is the problem, isn't it? That most of the water is going into the sea.
No, exactly. No. It goes to Brahmaputra river. This Tista goes and joins Brahmaputra river in Bangladesh. So now the issue is that
the flooding, silting, all that is the reason is because of this, isn't it?
No. See, this environmental flow is the minimum amount of flow that must be allowed to flow. Now the whole problem is that central government of India and the central government of Bangladesh, they both understand this, and the agreement which they have negotiated takes into account that this environmental flow will be allowed to continue. So then you are looking at the long-term sustainability of the river.
So why are we stuck?
So the opposition who don't understand this,
opposition in India,
opposition in India particularly, they say you don't allow this environmental flow.
Right,
and this is something that will not be accepted internationally at all.
This is because it's an emotive issue, as I said,
yes,
for
exactly.
Mamata Banerjee. Now, she has said that unless North Bengal agrees, I'm not going to sign or I'm not going to agree on the Tista Accord. Now, without getting into the gamut of center-state relations, the federal structure in India, is it possible for a state to say no to something like water sharing with another country? What if tomorrow Omar Abdullah is to say, I'm not going to allow the Indus waters to flow, I'm not going to do this?
No,
where do we stop?
According to Article 73 of the Constitution of India, no state can interfere in treaty making. Treaty making is the monopoly right of the executive of the federal government.
So today, Manmohan Singh's government can just say, no,
and they can sign, and it cannot be challenged in the Supreme Court. If anybody files a PIL or if a state government files an application against it, the Supreme Court will very easily quash it, or it will be lost in the Supreme Court. Right. And there is a whole history of cases.
Unlike
in
the
India,
land border agreement issue, which needs the parliament
issue. Exactly, because that is covered under the Article 253 of the Constitution, which requires a parliamentary
these are the two issues which are between India and Bangladesh. One is the land border agreement, and the second one is the Tista Accord.
Right.
So what you're saying is that for the LBA, you need parliament and you need the opposition consensus.
Right, exactly.
But for the first one, is just gentlemanly, actually, that Mamata Banerjee is being consulted, and we are trying, or the center is trying to build a consensus. It doesn't need to, it can go ahead and sign the treaty nevertheless.
See, there are two aspects. One is the legal aspect. Now, purely from a legal point of view, the central government can enter into a treaty with Bangladesh, and no state will be able to challenge it legally.
Okay.
Or if they challenge it, they will lose the case very easily. Okay. Also, the other aspect of the legal dimension is that the central government's position is based on very sound international principles, which is to allow the technical environmental flow of the river, and therefore it will stand internationally. But whereas if the state government makes an argument that you don't allow the environmental flow to continue, India will lose every case in international any international court.
Which is what some Bangladeshis are saying, right? That if you don't do this, if you don't sign up on the accord, and if the water doesn't flow, that they might just take this to an international court and appeal out there.
Yes, and then we will lose the case.
Okay, India will lose the case.
India will lose the case.
Now,
but that is the legal. But there is another aspect which is important, and which is where one has to be sympathetic to what Chief Minister of West Bengal
that's what I was going to say. How valid are the fears of North Bengal regarding this?
No. See, because North Bengal doesn't have too many other water resources. So, even though legally they cannot challenge an international treaty, from a human and political point of view, you have to take into consideration the needs of the people of North Bengal. Now, the issue is that both in North Bengal and in the northwest districts of Bangladesh, where Tista flows, most of the population is depending on agriculture. And so, therefore, the population, the population of northern districts of West Bengal and the northwestern districts of Bangladesh, they both need the water, and they both need the water in the lean period. Also, both the geographies are in the process of getting industrialized. Mamata Banerjee has made big plans for industrialization of northern Bengal, and in fact build a corridor from the south of the West Bengal to the north of the West Bengal.
Those are ambitious projects which are, you know, in the works.
Right, but theoretically, when they get off the ground, they will need electricity.
Exactly,
and they
industry
will need water.
needs water too.
So these are the concerns. So these concerns have to be taken into consideration politically, irrespective of the legal realities.
Okay.
So therefore, what we are proposing is that this agreement which has been negotiated between India and Bangladesh is only looking at the allocation of water resources. Now, every agreement which is only for allocation of river in the world has very limited utility. While this agreement may be confined to the allocation of the water resources, it is also important for Bangladesh and India to work together to see how not only they allocate but augment the water resources, augment and preserve the water resources. See, currently the entire
That's the second
discourse.
and third step, isn't it?
No, it
Right.
can go simultaneously.
Okay.
It can go simultaneously. So currently, unfortunately, the issue has been so over politicized that you are only looking at numbers. It's almost become like an accounting disputes. So instead of
So then
looking
how
at
does one
accounting dispute, you
gauge-
have to see how do you increase the economic prospects of the people in the region, and for that you have to see how you can conserve the water, how you can augment the water, what are the kind of changes you need to make in the water management, what are the kind of changes you need to make in the agricultural patterns, and for that the two countries have to collaborate. So,
But right now, you know, Mamata Banerjee is not even willing to discuss. And in her pre-panchayat campaigning, she said that she's not got the okay as yet from Cooch Behar and the other areas in North Bengal. How does one get to know? Do you hold a plebiscite? How do you get to know what the people of North Bengal want? Is it agitation politics? How does one gauge? And you know, Sheikh Hasina has this narrow window now. She just got 6 to 7 months. She has to deliver on Tista and LBA. Else she's known as an Indian agent who has given so much of cooperation to India but got nothing back in return. The opposition in India has said that they are willing to cooperate with the government, but then nothing seems to happen on that score.
no, see, the government under the constitutional provisions can take a decision and sign a treaty with the government of Bangladesh. There is nothing to stop them. So they can, but it is a political call that the ruling party has to make.
Has the political party which you're talking about, has the Congress done any kind of a feasibility study in areas in North Bengal to see whether it is justified, their fears?
I am not aware of any feasibility study as such, but many of the facts are known. I don't think you need to make any special feasibility study. But basically, they have to, if they want to get it sealed soon, they have to follow a two-track approach. Number one, go and sign the agreement. I will not get into the details of which agreement is the ideal, but I would say the agreement has to respect the principle of environmental flow. That's all I would say. Precise numbers, the two governments are capable of negotiating. They don't need an advice from a third party like me. But at the same time, I think the central government should seriously consider taking into consideration, Mamata Banerjee's some of the concerns and the issues that affect the local people, to see how they can augment and conserve the water resources in the northern districts of Bengal, and if they can make some plan for that, if they can develop a package for that.
What happened with the Tipaimukh project? What were the fears in that project?
Now, with Tipaimukh, now this is where the ruling governments in both the countries have been very constructive, but it's the opposition, not just our opposition, like in this case the Mamata Banerjee, but also the Bangladeshi opposition sometimes has been totally,
BNP,
totally irrational, totally irrational.
They said they will take a demonstration.
Yes, but the
all
point
the
is that
way
Tipaimuk,
into India.
Tipaimuk, there is no dam constructed in Tipaimuk. Okay, so the fear of Bangladeshi opposition has been based on something imaginary, and some discussions which have taken place in Northeast about building the dam, but the central government and the Prime Minister has personally assured so many times that if they want to go on, go to the stage of building the dam, they will very much take into account the Bangladeshi needs and Bangladeshi concerns, and they are even willing to include the Bangladeshi government in the planning process. Now, the Tipaimuk, the first request for Tipaimuk had actually come from Bangladesh way back in the 70s. As a flood management measure for Bangladesh, for the benefit of Bangladesh. Okay, so the Tipaimuk idea didn't come from Delhi. The idea came from Dhaka.
Oh, not many people know about this.
Yes.
Right.
And this was very much at the request of
which government was this? Sheikh Hasina's, or was it the BNP
it was in
government?
70s. I don't remember
Okay.
who was the Prime Minister then, but so the idea came from there. In the 70s, it's the Bangladeshis who were wanting Tipaimuk. India maybe had a shortage of resources or whatever the practical problems at that time, we couldn't go. And even now, there is no plan to build Tipaimuk without considering the opinion of the Bangladeshis. So this fear is absolutely unfounded. There were all kinds of rumors in Bangladesh that Tipaimuk is already built, and they would take
they asked India even asked took a group there and said
yes,
that
exactly.
showed
And
them
so
the
when the Bangladeshi journalists and Bangladeshi MPs visited, they came to know that Tipaimuk doesn't exist, and that helped to alleviate fears to some extent. But the point is, if politicians want to use false propaganda for their narrow ends, there is nothing you can do. Right. Unfortunately, the problem with politics in India, Bangladesh, or in South Asia generally is that ours is politics of emotions. Ours is not politics of hard facts and analysis, which is what you see in the Western countries. And that is at the root of the problem. Even the opposition of Mamata Banerjee or some of the other forces to Teesta is because they are playing politics of emotions. They are not looking at hard facts of the hard hydrological facts of the river. They are not looking at the hard legal facts. So if you decide to ignore facts and analysis, and if you just decide to play politics of emotions, then there is no end to that.
Well, let's hope that in the near future, at least, one will see an agreement coming up on the Teesta Accord.
Yes.
Thank you very much for speaking with us.
Thank you.